everybody here. I'm going to just start off with quick introductions. My name is Sarah.
And I'm Jude, and we are the hosts of the We Got No Jams podcast, where we shamelessly obsess about BTS every week. So,
yes. Have a plug at the end, don't worry.
Don't you worry, we've got goodies at the end for you, so don't you worry about that. So we're going to go over just some ARMY basics, what it is to be in the fandom, what it means to be in the fandom, who BTS is, kind of what they stand for. So thanks so much for joining us today.
So we'll hop in.
Yes.
So we did want to start off first with just really quickly K-pop basics. So if you're kind of new to the genre itself, just really quick, it stands for Korean pop, hence the K. And typically artists will begin by getting signed to a label. They will become a trainee where they learn how to sing or dance or rap or whatever they're trying to get into. And once the group or solo performer is kind of deemed ready, they will debut. So they'll come out and debut.
Yes, and basically just introduce themselves, their concept, what their album's going to be like, what their new single's going to be like, so that way you can get to know the band right as they get started.
Yeah. The other thing we wanted to talk about is once a band has debuted, their subsequent albums that come out is called a comeback, which I had no clue what that was. When I first started listening to K-pop, I was like, what is a comeback? They didn't leave, so what's going on? But they call it a comeback because essentially they are coming out with a new album or EP, a new song, and so they're usually pretty involved, a comeback. This is the recent BTS Proof comeback schedule, and you can kind of see it's pretty packed. They usually will come out with concept photos, and there's a whole theme around the album that's coming out. And historically for BTS, for example, you can also have comebacks where albums are in a series of releases. So for example, BTS has the Love Yourself series, which is pretty popular, and there's 3 albums that all kind of tie into that theme, where it's really about love yourself, speak yourself, and so they can come out in kind of groups of albums with specific themes, and they will have concepts and like hair colors and makeup and like themes,
yes, outfit themes and
eras.
Yes, and it gets really involved, like she said. You'll hear fans in the K-pop fandom kind of say, oh, it's comeback season. I can't go out, it's comeback season. I have to stay home and watch all of the videos and take in all of the photos. So that's what we mean when it's comeback season. New albums coming out and we're getting excited for it.
Yes. So the next thing we wanted to talk about is concerts, because one of the really fun things about K-pop concerts is it's incredibly involved as a viewer in the stadiums. And one of the things is light sticks. Yay! So this is the Army Bomb. This one is specific to BTS. Different K-pop artists will have a different light stick. And the really cool thing about these is that when you're in the concert, you have an app and you can hook it up to your seat. You like pair it to your seat, and the entire stadium, the lights are triggered to the song. So you're really a part of the music as the entire stadium changes colors. It'll spell out words. It's really cool and really involved. Like you really feel like you're part of the show.
Yeah.
With light sticks, so it's really cool.
You become the light show as the audience, and it is amazing. And you also have something to just like bop along.
It's incredibly satisfying.
It is so much fun.
Your arm will be sore, it'll be sore, but it's super fun. And then the other thing we wanted to talk about is fan chants. And so there's going to be sort of for BTS, for example, like your main chant, which just says all the names of the members, and it's BTS, woo! And then there's also song-specific chants. And so we actually have, hopefully the sound works, we have an example. Let's see.
If it doesn't want to work this time.
That's okay. Well, it is very cool if you see it. But basically, for example, one of the big popular ones, they have a song called Fake Love. And in the chorus, people know. And so in the chorus, they'll sing, Fake Love, and the entire stadium is just yelling, Fake Love! Fake love! And it's crazy. It's like, 90,000 stadium, everyone chanting, and so it's really, really
And we have kind of our main one, like she said. Oh, is it working? There we go. Oh, it's no sound.
Oh, no sound.
Check your volume.
I've got the volume up. Oh, it's happening right now. No.
But yeah, she's got it. Basically, we name all the members from the captain to the baby. So Kim Namjoon, Kim Seokjin, Min Yoongi, Jung Hoseok, Park Jimin, Kim Taeyang, Jung Jungkook, BTS.
Yes.
And so when we're waiting for encore for them to come out, we'll shout that over and over and over again. We kind of use that to lead into certain songs. Boy With Love, we'll hear the beginning music of that and start that chant to end right as that verse starts. So we get new songs will come out, and you'll see online that people will post.
New song chants come out.
Reddit fan chants will be there for you, so that way you can learn everything before the concert.
Yep, exactly. So it's really involved. The concerts are very fun. And so, nope, no sound. That's okay. The other thing we wanted to talk about, which we also have a video for, this one you can watch, that's okay. This sounds okay, but it's fan cams, and so this is when you'll have footage from a concert or performance, and it's really just focused on one member. So you can kind of see a good example here, and they're so fun. Everyone gets really excited for the fan cam of their bias, which we'll talk about bias here in a minute. But this is an example of fan cams, and it is such a fun part of the fandom as well, because, like I said, everyone's always, like, a performance comes out, and you're like, where's the fan cam? So
Instagram will blow up the very next day after after a performance, and you can usually find your favorite member.
Yep. So speaking of common terms you may hear about, what is a bias? Bias record. So basically, and you don't have to have these things, it's just common terms, in the industry, or in the fandom. But a bias is the term for your favorite member, whatever that means to you. If you have a member that you kind of favor, that's your bias. OT7 on here for sure.
We'll cover that for sure. So you'll hear some people say bias is OT7, and that basically means all 7 members, 1 through 7.
Yeah.
So they don't have a favorite, they just love all of them equally. But a lot of us do have a bias, and then we have a second favorite who will kind of come in and steal our attention, and that is our bias wrecker.
Your number 2 man coming in.
That one will change a lot too.
Yes. And then it's also common for K-pop groups, especially if there's a lot of members in a group, to have vocalists and then also rappers. And so vocal line, rap line, so that's a common term. And then in groups as well, age is important in Korean culture.
So we have the Hyung line, which is the older members, the older brothers, and then the maknae line, which is the younger brothers or the younger members of the group.
So in this photo, to your left is the Hyung line, to the right is the maknae line. And then there is also usually a leader of the group. For BTS, that's RM. And so,
What's interesting about that is normally it's in K-pop fandom and other groups, the oldest one will be the leader. Kim Namjoon, RM, is not the oldest one, but he does speak fluent English. He's the only one that does. So he's the leader of the group.
They're working on it.
They are. They're very good at it. But so he's the leader, RM, or Kim Namjoon. He is the captain, leader of BTS.
President.
Yes.
They need to ask, how did he learn to speak English? That's a funny story.
So next, just briefly,
Friends.
history of
That's what
BTS,
he
if
said.
you're, a little bit new to BTS. So, Big Hit Entertainment was the label when they first became, BTS.
Now it's
Hive Music. It's since become a very large company. And it was created by Bang PD, which is this lovely gentleman here. And he initially was a producer in the industry, and he really wasn't liking essentially the kind of bubblegum pop that was sort of coming out of the industry at that time. And so he decided to create his own label. He had very little money, they were pretty broke, there's a lot of footage of them like sleeping in bunk beds in like a tiny like 1-bedroom dorm, and it was it was a lot. They went through a lot to get going. But Bang PD also really loved hip hop, and you can tell that really influenced their debut. So we will show some pictures, and it is wonderful. It's magical, and I love it. Their debut era is like our favorite.
It's one of our favorite eras.
So we'll kind of get into that. Anything else for this time?
No, I think you covered it great.
So debut. BTS debuts. This was the concept that they debuted with. It was very, very hip hop, R&B, chains, like
Tough guys.
yes.
BTS means Bang Tan Sonyeondan, which means Bulletproof Boy Scouts. So at the beginning, it was very much about like, oh, we're tough, we're aggressive,
Yeah.
we're gonna come
Protectors
in and stand
of
up
the
for
youth.
what we want. So, it was very much that, different from what we have now, but still holds a very special place in the heart of almost every army.
Yeah. And this is where the name ARMY came from as the fandom. So it stands for Adorable Representative MC for Youth, which you won't hear too often. Usually it's just ARMY. But that's, again, tied into this initial concept where they came out and they were really wanting to, you know, talk about mental health and the struggles of being young. And so it was mixed reviews, as you can see on that fourth bullet. Mixed reviews. Because they were like really hard-hitting and really intense choreography, and again, they were singing about topics at the time that really just weren't talked about.
Yeah.
So
a big stigma for the mental health community, I guess, in regards to K-pop. That's usually not something that's talked about in that genre of music. So for an underdog group like BTS to come out with an underdog label, like big hit at the time, it was kind of like, what is going on and what are you doing? And don't mess with our formula.
yeah. So they debuted, and so what we want to do is introduce the members. And what we would love to do, yes. So if we say the name of your bias, we do want to hear some loud
Cheer it
praise,
out,
you
cheer
guys.
it out.
So
We love it.
we are gonna start with the leader of BTS, Yes, so RM, leader of the group, he actually started he was the first one signed to the label. He had already had a pretty fair amount of success as an underground rapper, and Bang PD wanted him and really kind of started with RM and sort of, they worked really hard to kind of get the label going. Next up is the oldest member of the group, Jin! Jin stands are always the most extra, and I love it so much.
They're extra, just like their bias. They are just like their bias.
Yes, so Jin is the oldest member. He actually had no experience singing, dancing, anything like that. He was actually in school for acting at the time. He was spotted getting on a bus, and someone from the label really liked the look of him, and so they talked to him, and he signed, and he, learned how to sing. So he's on the vocal line, and then I will let you introduce.
And then the next one is a personal favorite of mine, Mr. Suga. So Suga is also a member of the rap line of the Young Line, and he is my bias. He has stolen my heart and has never let it go. Yes, Marry Me Yoongi, and that's something that's in our fandom. Whenever they do a live video, which we'll talk about, usually in the comments you'll see an army that'll say Marry Me Yoongi, even though it's not him on the video, it'll be another member. And so every single time, and they're talking about Suga, that's his name, is Min Yoongi.
Yeah.
And then I'll let you take this one.
My man, J-Hope! My bias is J-Hope, and he's also part of the rap line. He's also the leader of their choreography. He's an incredible dancer, and so that's the Young Line. We'll keep talking about them if you don't stop, so we gotta move on. But yes, we're soap fans, and
we're soap all day,
every day. But we're gonna introduce the Matinee line,
line.
which we do have our bias records.
We do, yes, we absolutely do.
Yeah.
So first and foremost is we nicknamed this one our precious baby angel, Jimin. Yes, so Jimin is a member of the
vocal line, and he is also another amazing dancer. When he joined the label, he was actually from a very well-renowned like art school, and he was learning contemporary dance. So he came with a pretty extensive dance background as well. I mentioned J-Hope being a dancer. He's more street dancing. That was sort of his background. So these two, they're all amazing dancers, but these two in particular already had experience coming in, and very different styles. You see it in their performances, and it's so good.
And Jimin usually will be the one that will get outsiders to notice that I don't listen to BTS, but that little dude with the black hair can sing, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, he's the one. Anytime a performance will come out, we'll see a YouTube comment that'll pop up.
It's either Jin, the guy with the shoulders, the guy by the car, or
the guy with the voice.
V's getting it too, though. V, who is up next? V!
That is my bias wrecker.
Yes.
Always wreck it. So he is gorgeous. He's a beautiful. It's almost unreal how beautiful he is.
Yes.
And
He
just
got Sexiest
and
Man
he's got that
2022.
darker baritone voice, kind of lower, very seductive, I will say. If anybody has seen the Singularity performance,
Henry Cavill, he's alright.
Yes. Y'all were not the same.
We were there.
Henry Cavill?
We didn't know how to do
Oh, I know who
We're
he
not
is.
the same person. We walked out.
Yes.
Superman.
Last one. No, this is my bias record. Jungkook! So Jungkook is the youngest of the group. He is also on the vocal line. Surprisingly good rap skills, though, I will say. I need more of it. Thank you. But he's also another really good dancer. He was
As good at everything. Yes, that's right.
Yes. And in fact, his nickname is the Golden Mechanic because he's so good at everything.
He's just good at everything.
Yeah.
Everything that what does he say? He's a jack of all trades, master of
Yes,
none.
exactly. That is something.
Yeah, right.
He says that, we don't say that, we know. Yeah. I mean, he can do no wrong.
Yes.
So that's the members. Thanks for participating.
Yes, thank you.
Our bias shouts. So moving on though, we do want to talk about BTS's growth. So we've talked about their debut, we've introduced the members, and so we're going to talk about their growth. And in this, I mean primarily in the Western music market. So since they debuted, they have changed quite a bit in their sound. It's a lot more diverse. They cover a lot more genres than just strictly hip hop, so they do still touch on that, which is great. Run BTS was a fantastic song off the Proof album.
So good.
Yes, and so they really broke into the Western market in 2017 with their Wings tour. That was the first tour they did in the States. That's when I discovered them in 2017, and it was huge. I mean, it was kind of a big deal at the time. There wasn't a lot of K-pop tours here in the U.S. And so after that, they broke in through the industry. They started to attend and win at U.S. award shows, and while promoting, they were on a lot of late night TV shows, doing interviews, and they also have since and are even through last year started doing a lot of concerts, but they've introduced world stadium tours, especially through the Love Yourself series. They booked out Wembley in like 2 seconds. It was huge. It was just a huge world tour. They also were able to do a speech at the United Nations Assembly. They did a performance there. It was a big deal, and so they've been able to really grow, and I'm sure, I feel like they're a household name almost at this point. They're getting there. A lot of people have at least seen them on something, I feel like. But this year was a little unique in that I know this might a little PTSD for some people. We apologize. But this year there was something was announced that took us a little bit by surprise. So they did announce that they were going to be taking a break from a lot of their group work, and they were going to be focusing on some solo projects, which in hindsight has been so good, and we have like twice the music coming out now. So at the time we were pretty upset, but now it's like we always support them, obviously, but now it's like,
well, I thought
we can't keep up with this.
Yeah, they were like, we're going to take a break, and we're like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then the content just kept coming, so it didn't even...
We had nothing to worry about.
I don't know if they understand the definition of a break.
I don't think so. But for example, here is Jack in the Box. That's this image here. So J-Hope was the first member to release an entire album. So all the members are talking about releasing albums, solo work. So Jack in the Box came out. He performed at Lollapalooza. And it was so amazing. Yes, and other members have been featured on songs. So
Collaborations.
This was Jungkook with Charlie Puth with Left and Right, which is super good.
And now we've got Sexy New
Kim with RM
and Bad Decisions.
Crush
with
came out.
Crush. So many great things to pay attention to as far as their solo work.
Yeah, so we did not have to worry about the break by any means. But moving on, we kind of want to switch gears into the fandom, ARMY. You know, what is, we're going to try to encapsulate an entire huge demographic of people, and so this is like our experience. You know, it's going to be different for everyone, but in our experience, we really feel like it's a diverse and supportive community, especially in person. When you're in concerts, it is so wonderful. You are just friends with everyone. Everyone is a friend there.
Yeah.
We're gonna hand out some goodies at the end, which is very reminiscent of what you will see at concerts. Like, people just hand stuff out, stickers, photo cards, like, it's so cool, and it's just there's so much camaraderie around being in this fandom. Like, when you see each other, you will spot a B221 thing, and you're just like, are you ARMY?
And you'll talk for 15 minutes in the middle of the hot topic. Like, that's exactly what happens all the time. But yes, the things we'll be handing out, we usually make them for the concerts and then hand them out in line to other people waiting, and we get stuff back, stickers and fun little things. It's a really cool kind of community, and the caring for each other just comes through.
Yeah. The other thing we wanted to mention is BTS, as members of this group, really do a ton of donations, and they really kind of champion a lot of really great causes, and so in turn the fandom does as well. That's one of my favorite things. Every member's birthday, there's all kinds of different initiatives that we're donating to. It's really cool. And then some things that maybe can positive and negative. It's a pretty defensive fandom, especially online. It's kind of the Wild West. If you're on Twitter, beware a little bit. It's very defensive. There are some fan wars and things like that, and so there's definitely going to be drama. It's like a huge amount of people, and they're online. So obviously, be aware. You know, be cautious of how you navigate social media. You know.
But because it's diversive, I mean, there will be other ARMY that will kind of
hold people accountable.
Don't talk like that. Don't act like that.
Like, try to be respectful.
The last thing I will say probably was when we went to the concert in LA. People were throwing stuffed animals up at the trolley carts, and Twitter and Instagram went insane. Just do not do that. That is just inappropriate. So we'll try to hold ourselves accountable, especially if we get too crazy.
Yeah. So, we wanted to just walk through a couple of quick demographics in ARMY. So there was an ARMY census that was conducted this year in 2022. Over 500,000 people took part in the census. 100 plus countries were represented in the census. And so we just pulled a couple things we thought were kind of cool. For example, what year did you become ARMY? That was a question asked in the census. And so as you can see, 2020 was huge. You know, during the pandemic, they really exploded. I mean, they kept putting out tons of content. They came out with a whole album called B, kind of encapsulating the experience of going through the pandemic.
Yeah.
It was pretty.
They even came out with a song for helping everybody else get through the pandemic. So, 2020, and they even thought that was going to be the end of their career, was once COVID happened, that they were going to be done and they weren't going to be able to come back. So but instead, the opposite happened.
Yeah. And so the other couple things we thought were cool. So gender demographics, it is a very heavily female group. But
some of the males.
We do love the guys though. At the Vegas concert in particular, I love this. One of the members asked for the guys in particular to shout, and they were shocked. Like, the entire stadium was just like, it was so good. So we love the diversity. We welcome you. But then also I thought the age demographics was pretty cool. In 2020, which was the last census, of ARMY respondents are adults 18 or older. It was about 45%, and now it's almost 70%. So it was pretty interesting to see the 2-year change. I mean, a huge amount of older ARMY, and also 68,000 of the participants were Army parents.
Yep.
So they had kids who also were in the band. So we thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, so a lot of times you'll hear kind of some of the naysayers say, oh, well, a bunch of 15-year-old girls like BTS, but that's not the case.
And if it was, like, don't discredit 15-year-old
Yeah,
taste,
don't.
all right?
They have a lot to offer when it
That's
comes
right.
to their ideas.
That's right.
But
it is more diverse.
very
than that.
diverse, and there's a lot more people in it.
We need more guys, though.
We
all
do.
get your guy friends.
I bet you they're there, they just won't admit it.
Yeah, there we go. But moving on out of kind of the
music.
Stats, we wanted to talk about a few things outside of the music, and some of the things I think are one of the reasons the fandom, as ARMY, you get so invested in this band. And yes, their music is amazing, and I think stands alone. Like, it stands alone as a reason to like them, but this stuff also, I think, is a big part of why we love these guys so much. And it's going to be a couple things, different shows and things that they do. So we wanted to talk about VLive. So this is an app or web browser you can hop on, and so they will do what's called live. So they just essentially go live, and you're just hanging out with them in real time. They're doing dishes.
I call it FaceTiming with them. It literally looks like you're FaceTiming with them.
Yes.
They're kind of just holding the phone and
There's
looking
like a
directly.
little chat thing, yeah.
It's
Sugar just stares at the screen.
You can never read the comments.
This is his entire, he'll be on there for 40 minutes, and this is it. The whole time. It's so good, it's so good. Yeah.
So we'll watch it. We'll watch all hour and 45
We will watch
minutes of
Uncle
it.
eat a salad. We'll watch him do dishes. We will go to the bathroom with J-Ho.
That
happened. So it's so funny, and you really just get to know them, and it's really cool. It does feel like a FaceTime. You're just like, am I FaceTiming my boyfriend right now? It's just like so fun. It's so fun. And they have also introduced Weverse. This was a few years ago. This is actually owned by Hive. This is a Hive software app web browser. And it has the Weverse shop where you can get merch. You can get an ARMY membership this way. Oh, I have my card. It's in my wallet. You get a really cool card. It feels like I don't know. It's so cool. It has your name on it. It's like an ARMY
I know,
member.
and you get like a number
Yeah,
and everything. Hold on,
it's pretty cool.
Well, I carry it in their wallet.
I have mine in my wallet, so yeah. But also, recently, they introduced lives on Weverse. So they're kind of transitioning those FaceTime type videos to Weverse. The translations are a little behind right now, which is a bummer, but usually they do a great job of translating, so a lot of different languages you can watch these in, which is really cool. And then the last thing on this slide I wanted to talk about, yes!
I have my last 3 years.
But the last thing on the slide we wanted to talk about was way back in the day, they started a show on YouTube called Rookie King, which you can find on YouTube still. I highly recommend. They're incredibly young, and it's essentially their own sort of entertainment show. And then they transitioned that show to VLive at the time, and they retitled it Run BTS. Run BTS is amazing. It's such an entertaining show.
Yeah.
It's just wild, the creative things that they do on the show, and it's just a way, you get really invested in these guys. You get to know them, you get to know their strengths, their weaknesses. J-Hope is not super great at puzzles, it's okay.
Sugar running, it's not gonna happen.
Sugar running, yeah,
Grandpa Yugi.
Grandpa Yugi hanging out.
Yeah, so it's fun to watch them play these games and
Yeah.
kind of watch them almost do like party games
They'll
together.
like bungee jump. They
Yes.
it's really crazy.
It's fun.
And it's been running for a number of years. They did take a break from it.
But it's come back.
They said it was coming back, and they aired 2 episodes, and we haven't seen any since. So
We're waiting.
All right.
But in the meantime, if you need games to play, which we haven't updated this since the games have come out,
Yeah.
But they also came out with a new game on iPhones, Androids, in the Somme, which is woo-hoo!
Yes, it's so fun.
It's so much fun, so addicting.
It's like a bubble pop
match-3
game.
kind of
Yeah.
game, and then you have an island you can decorate, and all the
Yeah.
members are on there, and that's really
They're
fun.
little chibis. They're so cute.
They're so cute, and then Rhythm Hive's also like a rhythm tapping game. That
Yeah.
one I will get stuck into for a
Yeah.
while as well.
So there's just a ton of content
Yes.
outside of their music.
Yes.
And speaking of that, to continue more content, Annual things will come out. So they'll do season's greetings, which kind of brings in the new year. There's usually photo concepts around this. You get a box of all kinds of stuff. Then they will do what's called Festa, which is their annual like anniversary from when they debuted. They'll celebrate, they do a video with us, they sometimes get drunk, it's totally fine. And that was actually when they announced the chapter 2 this year, so this Festa started out super happy and then definitely was very emotional by the end.
And then we were fine.
Yes, but Festa happens every year, and then musters are essentially concerts that they hold, but they call it like a fan meeting concert. And so they usually in these concerts it's a little unique because they really try to get out into the crowd as best they can because it's a band meet. And so they might be in a hot air balloon that goes around the stadium, or they might be in the trolleys, and so they really usually have more skits and things like that within these. It's really more about just keeping it fun and casual, like muster is kind of what it's called. Then they'll also do summer and winter packages, which they haven't done these as of late, but they're, you know, historically they had done, they'll go somewhere and do a photo shoot, and then they will document the whole thing. So this is just that trip that they'll do. My favorite thing, I guess it kind of transitioned into another thing, but Bon Voyage used to be their vacations. So they would go somewhere, they would go on a vacation, it's them just like ordering food and trying to get their plane tickets and losing passports, and it was such a cool show. Hiding bags. They trick each other with their bags, and it's really entertaining. And then when the pandemic hit, they couldn't travel anymore, so they transitioned to In the Soup, which means in the forest. So they essentially got like a campsite with like a building, and so it's still their vacation, but they were just in one spot.
It's kind of like, it kind of looks like the filming of like Big Brother or like Summer House, if anybody watches those shows. It's just like stationed cameras placed all around, and you just get to watch them do their daily lives and kind of figure out new hobbies that they like, and
hit bags with
make fresh zucchini and stuff like that. So
yeah, being a canoe. Really, they're very entertaining for sure. And then Memories ends the year, which basically is they release video and photos and moments from the prior year, the year we kind of just exited. They'll like, you know, release something like recapping that year. So that's kind of annual content that they'll come out with. The next thing we're going to talk about is why do we still buy CDs? Because I've been asked this, because I have a CD player, I have a CD collection, and they're like, why do you still have it? It's 2022.
And I'll always pull up this, I'll just pull it out and be like, this is
what.
This is not your little tiny dinky jewel case. This is a big legit thing.
So, it comes with a ton of stuff. Photo cards, books, photos, like all kinds of stuff, the actual CDs themselves, and so you get a ton with it. The count
see what photo cards are,
she really wanted to bring her photo cards today. Photo cards, and these are like Pokemon cards. The fandom will trade these. It's kind of wild, but you get photo cards out of them. You'll get Weaver's Cash you can use on the app, but also counts towards awards, and so that's why we still buy CDs, you guys. It's fine.
We're probably the last fandom to still do that.
Yeah. Another thing we want to mention is kind of in line with things you can buy a little bit. Is BT21, I mentioned that earlier. So a number of years ago, they partnered with a company called Line Friends. They make really cute characters.
They make the little bear and the bunny that is very popular.
So they each of the members got to create a character. And so I put a photo here that shows each member with their character. This is out of a Run episode. So
Sarah has the mouse pad.
Yes. So this is Mang. Yeah. So they have all these characters. So much merch.
On it. You can get a shirt with a little cartoon character.
Yeah, and then you spot them. You spot this in the wild on someone. You're just like, are you Arby?
We saw a Koya keychain on a bag, and we were like, they're coming to our panel. We know it.
I was hopeful. Thank you. The other one we wanted to talk about is Tiny Tan. This is a little bit newer. So they just essentially released these little chibi characters of the members, and so they have them they have them in outfits from different music videos. So there's different Tiny Tans, and they have merch on this as well. They're so cute.
They're adorable. They'll do like little music videos with the Tiny Tans.
Yeah,
it's adorable.
They're very cute. And then, hey, we're doing that.
I know.
The last thing you wanted to talk about, and I'm not sure if this will work, but we can watch the subtitles, is Borahae. And what is that? It's basically, I purple you in Korean, and this was started by V at one of the concerts. So you can kind of read the subtitles, but he was talking about the color purple is at the end of the rainbow. It stands for trust, and I'll love you for a really long time. And then he lets us know he just made it up. And the other members are like giving him a hard time, but it became the color of the fandom is purple. And this, I purple you is essentially like I love you and I respect you. And
we have it written on our hats.
We got little hats off of Etsy.
We end every podcast episode saying Borahae. It's just kind of the way that we tell other armies we love and appreciate you, we trust you, and we understand you because we're in the same fandom. So that is kind of, when you hear someone say Borahae, you know that you're just immediately going to be friends.
And this is why. This is what happened. V did this, and now here we are.
Here we are. Now purple has become our color by accident.
Purple is the color.
Okay.
Vegas, I know. That whole
Vegas was
amazing. Purple. I was shocked,
If y'all haven't seen the pictures for Borahae, it was beautiful.
Yes, it was so good. But yeah, we wanted to just open the floor in case there's any questions.
Yes.
Yeah, there's I think a mic here. If you want to come stand, right? Or you can just yell from there.
Up to you.
Jinko.
Nice.
Yes.
Cool.
Could you explain what he just said?
Did you say core? K-O-R-E?
Jinko.
Oh, Jin Cole. And again, it's just, Jin stands are very extra. So, so Jin is the oldest member, like we mentioned, and he is so sweet, and he's pretty extra. He
became himself worldwide handsome.
Worldwide handsome. He's incredibly confident. And
he's got an interesting personality that he's not ashamed of. He'll just kind of...
he does whatever he wants. And he can tell the label he's doing whatever he wants. Like, he's just very independent and a little extra.
He's hilarious.
And so his stance is, like, if you're a Jin bias, you also tend to also act like you're pretty extra in turn.
Yes.
It's just,
I see some heads
so that's the Jin
like,
code.
yes, I am. Very extra.
I thought it said Corey.
Jin Core?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Which is the whale. That's the whale.
I love it.
Any other, that was a great question. Thank you. Yes. Oh, jumping is down too.
Favorite run BTS?
Oh my gosh.
Last you vote on that.
Yes. Well, we can talk about that run episode because that was great. So basically, the members had headphones on, and they had to pass a keyword down to each other like telephone. And Jimin was told carbonara, spaghetti carbonara, which he did not get, and he said la jibo la la, and then turned, said that to Jin, who got spaghetti carbonara out of that. And we're just like, Jin is amazing.
Yes.
But that's
wonderful. That's actually one of our Patreon levels.
Yes.
I would have to say my favorite one has got to be the school episode ones where Jungkook was running for class president and they played Boys with Flowers behind it, and it had everything I needed in those couple episodes.
Yeah. I think it's an older one, but the zombie episode where they went to a theme park. So all the members went to a theme park, and there are members of this group that are incredibly huge scaredy cats. J-Hope, my love, being one of them, and he was screaming. They brought him off the bus. They thought they were going to a theme park. They were excited. Then all of a sudden, these lights and these alarm sounds go off. They drag J-Hope off the bus. It turns out they're in a zombie apocalypse. He's screaming. He uses a shoe. It was so funny. And then Sugar's punching zombies.
Doing the little run.
It was a great episode. It was a great episode.
Run BTS is one of our favorites.
Yeah. Thanks for asking. That was a great question. Jacqueline, this is my sister, so I know her.
How did RM learn English?
Okay, good question. So RM is asked this in every interview, and I'm sure he's tired of saying it by now, but RM says that he learned English because he watched Friends, the TV show Friends, and he watched it 3 or 4 times, and he would start with, it in Korean and subtitled, and then he transitioned the subtitles to English, and then he went to English. He also spent some time in New Zealand as well, so that's where he learned English. Yeah.
Other members have watched Friends, but they didn't learn
They did not learn
English.
English. They let us know. They let us know. But the other members are getting better. Over the last couple of years, they're definitely getting. Oh yes.
What's each of your guys' favorite interview moments?
Oh. I want to say, just in general, my favorite thing about interviews with them is RM being kind of the de facto translator. When he gets really, he will get asked a dumb question in an interview, and the way he handles it is so funny to me, because you can tell he, like, just, you know, like, fine, you know, and he's very professional, and he's very nice, but you can tell he's just like, why are you asking me this?
I think my favorite one is the group one, and somebody asked them what's their favorite American snack, and Sugar was like, soju, Korean alcohol, soju, and the translator was like, I won't translate that, and he looked at it and looked back and said, alcohol.
Yes. Or they get asked what their favorite food is in the United States, and they'll say Panda Express, and Arm's like, Sprite. He's like, we have Sprite in Korea. We have Panda Express in Korea. Burgers, we have those in Korea. And they're just like not answering the questions. And again, RM getting frustrated because he's translating everything. It's so funny. So that was a great question.
Yes,
Thank
very
you.
good question.
Yes.
Okay, I have really quick. Right. You are BTS experts, correct?
I feel like we're getting filmed right now, so asterisk, yes. Oh, your mom, yes, hey mom.
Is there an age limit on BTS fans?
No! You can love BTS at any
You can love
time,
BTS
yes.
at a million years old.
It's called Dope Old People. Hashtag look it up. It's awesome, yes.
Yes, no age limit.
Yes. Great. That was not as scary as I thought it was going to be. Huh?
What concerts?
So I went the first, oh, we have 1 minute, okay. My first concert was, back in 2018, I went to the Staples Center. It was the very first tour of the Love Yourself. Then they came back, did Speak Yourself, and I brought her.
Rose Bowl. That was Rose Bowl.
We've done Vegas, LA.
We did LA, and then we just did Lollapalooza.
And we did Lollapalooza with J-Hope.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was magical.
It was so
J-Hope.
there and stuff?
We got J-Hope going.
It was
We got
really
the
funny
J-Hope
too,
going.
because you know how more and stuff is kind of a lower baritone, and like Army would do it like, I want more. It sounded really funny, like a bunch of chipmunks in the audience.
Yes.
Oh, all right.
Yes. Oh, I think we're out of time.
Yes,
I'm so sorry.
but make sure that you come
We'll be
up with
outside,
something.
and we have goodies for you guys.
And
So
then we
any
have
other
someone else
questions,
that's gonna hand
let us
out
know.
some,
But can we take a photo with the crowd really fast? I'm so sorry. Okay, so really quick, we want to do a photo with you guys. We are so thankful that you're here. Thank you so much. Thank you so